Alright guys, so I decided to actually replace the gaskets in the O-rings in the oil cooler. Why? Because it's all dirty in there. So the oil is coming from somewhere. So I have at least two places where I know it can come from. One is the oil cooler itself, which is really down there. This is the oil cooler, and there's oil under it. And another one is a filler tube. See the filler tube right on the way? It's a filler tube all the way down. Sits at the base on top of the actual block. What I did is I tightened the actual tube. I may take it out, I don't know, I'll take a look at it. Something else I decided to do is to change the knock sensors. One knock sensor is really easy to get to from here. I don't know if you can see the shiny spot right there. That's where the sensor goes. The other one is under the actual alternator. I don't know if you can see it, but it's way back in there. So it's kind of hard to see. It's easy to see from the side. It's actually goes right in that shiny spot that you see. Shiny little position right about there where the hole is. That's where it is. So happens that if you remove the alternator, it's easy to get to. So, and did the bolts for the alternator, one here and the long one right here with the pulley. Had to actually break it loose from this bracket because it was kind of jammed in there. Worked it around, remove or loosen this bracket, and took it off, not with a socket because I can reach with a socket, but believe it or not, interestingly, here is the actual knock sensor. Okay, two of them, I just ordered them. They are Torx, and I could not reach them with a ratchet, but you know what? 3/8 box wrench works awesome on that Torx head. 3/8, who would have thought? I never knew that. Now I know it looks like one would fit. 3/8 12 point. That's a bingo. See it right there? Sweet. So now you know. 3/8 and some of these Torx heads works. So I got in the oil cooler, broke the bolts out, and that's the other place. Again, oil leaks over the block. Filler neck's already tightened. Let me take it out and review. The O-rings, don't know yet, but the oil cooler is loosened up. I'll have to remove it. See what I find. Never taken one of these out, so it shouldn't be a big deal. Well, actually tighter than I thought. Wonder if there are any other more bolts on the other side that I can't see. Nope, can't see any, so I'm gonna have to. There you go. So it broke off, and I don't know about you, but that hole there, that O-ring looks a little suspect to me. The actual oil cooler itself. So what I'm going to do is, of course, put new rings in all of them. Alright, put new rings, clean the surfaces up, and I'm going to hope that if there were leaks on this side of the engine, those will stop. They look they're kind of weird. Alright guys, so back with more. I want to get the O-ring and we'll go to work. We'll be right now, but I'll take care of it in a few days, most likely later. Alright folks, Chomboricua here, working on my Boxster still. Actually, I just got the knock sensors today. If you can see that shiny spot right there, one goes right there. See the spot right there goes one. And if I come around this other side of the engine, the other one goes under this actual bank. So it's actually under the alternator, behind the alternator. I got two brand new Bosch knock sensors. Part numbers 026, I don't know if you can see that, 02612311173. Got them out of your RM European auto parts. I do not know if my knock sensors are bad, but I'm not going to take the chance. If I actually put everything back together and get a fault on a knock sensor, I'll probably just go ahead and, I don't even know what I would do. I don't want to say what I would do because I would be really upset. I have everything out here. Now is the time to replace the knock sensors. These are the old ones. They may be in perfectly fine condition, but again, I'm not taking a chance. I'm going to go ahead and replace them. Replace them with both bolts as they came, and torque everything back to 15 foot-pounds is what it calls for. So not much, 15 foot-pounds, supposedly plus or minus 2 pounds, keep that in mind. So I'm going to go ahead and install those. One of them, as I mentioned to you, the easiest way to get to it is actually after you pull out the alternator, and right there is the spot. See how easy it is? So I'm going to connect it, and I'm going to go ahead and reach over and plug it in. At the same time, I bought a bunch of O-rings because I don't want to actually put everything back together, find major leaks. I found out that a lot of the O-rings are sold actually at local places. Napa stores has a lot of those O-rings. Believe it or not, they are pretty damn close. Some of them are, for example, 34, I believe, I'm going off of memory here, by 4 millimeters. They may have 34 by 3 millimeters. So I'm going to go ahead and put them in and see how high they are. And if I'm getting the warm fuzzy that they fit okay, I'm going to torque it down. But that's not coming up yet. I'm also going to go ahead and replace the O-rings in the actual tube. This is the oil feeding tube. I'm going to go ahead and throw an O-ring down there at the bottom of the base. So just remember, now I can get to that bolt because I'm removing pretty much the alternator, so I can get to it easier. And actually lift it, put the O-ring in there, get back to business. I don't want to see any of these oil laying around. I don't know if I'm going to keep the car for a while, but I'm assuming that I'm going to do a good job in case I decide to keep it. I always keep cars for a while, drive them, get tired of them, and sell them. So I'm going to get to work. I'm going to go ahead and replace the torque, replace the knock sensors with the new ones, torque them down, plug them back in. Here's actually one of the plugs, which is one big problem for many people. They get dirty. These ones are very clean. They're both clean. Here's the other one. And if you can see it from there. Here's the other connector. Again, very clean, very nice. I don't really have to do a whole lot as far as cleaning it. In fact, I'm not even going to touch it. If I touch it and break it, I'm going to hate myself for being so stupid and creating a problem that I really don't have. So that's my plan. Knock sensors first, oil cooler or oil heat exchanger O-ring second, and oil pipe O-ring third. That's my plan. I'll be back in a little bit. Alright, as you can see, the knock sensors are in place. One is right there. And the other one, again, come around this side. It's hard to see, he's in there, but here's the alternator, okay? I told you, pull the alternator out a little bit. Gosh. Alternator out. Bam. Right there you see it simply, okay? So it's behind the alternator. My recommendation, move the alternator and you will get to it. Okay, so next, the pipe. I'm going to go ahead and actually remove the pipe and replace the O-ring, throw it back in. Like I said before, guys, here I am bolting everything back up in the pipe. Like I said before, the Torx bolts are tricky to find. They're actually under cables. Again, you may say I'm cheating. Right there's my socket. See? And the other one back there, you can see it. Back shading myself right there in between the lines. So I'm torquing this down 7 foot-pounds. If I 7. The catch is my 3/8 drive doesn't fit, so I'm using an 8 socket with a 1/4" drive and extensions to actually get there. Recommend trying the 8 with a 1/4" drive. 3/8 gets stuck everywhere and it's just a mess. So I'm going with a 1/4" drive. I'm going to torque it down and then move on to the heat exchanger right here, which needs some O-rings. Alright, so I'm removing this pipe, 2 bolts holding it at the base. There's one, the other one is behind it right here. You may be asking, why don't you do this first? Well, it's my first Boxster, so I don't know anything about it. I'm learning a lot. Should I have done this before I did the starter? Of course. It's too late now, I'm here. So it's coming out slowly. Apparently there's a gasket in there that you want to be careful about, and definitely the pipe is really flimsy. This little cable guide, I loosen it so it gives me a little more freedom and movement. So I already loosened up the bolts. I'm going to fish it out with my magnet because I keep dropping them all the time. They just fall off the little thing. This one didn't, but pull out right now. There it is. Now I should be able to bring the bolt up. I'm sorry. Pull the pipe out and replace the seal. I don't even know what this pipe looks like. Right there it is. Started coming out. Right there is the O-ring, and it is just my opinion that if you don't take care of this O-ring, it could spill oil every time you fill it. Why? Because that's where the oil goes down. It goes down that tiny little hole, and if you're not careful, you will be spilling oil, which in an engine that you're actually just pretty much working to a nice standard, you hate to see it. And as you can see, this little pipe is giving me a problem. So I'm gonna have to put the camera down and we'll just thread it around, massage it, be nice to it, and eventually it'll come out. It's right here. So I'll figure a way out. Be back. Pipe is out. Nasty looking O-ring. Tells me that this may be leaking. So I bought a new O-ring, put it in the bag. Go ahead and throw a new one in there and slip it in and bolt it back up. Should be good. Okay. And yeah, it was easy to work out. Basically, move this hoses out of the way and clear the path. So this is how it goes. Okay. I'm going to replace the O-ring, clean this up, and put a new O-ring in there. Back in. Alright guys, so what you have here is an alternator is in place, 33 foot-pounds to the bolts. This is in place, 7.5 foot-pounds to this tray, these bolts right here. So you need to bolt this back up. I'm going to put that in a second. And I already removed the heat exchanger bolts as I showed you before. So I'm getting ready to replace those O-rings. Okay, those O-rings were a bit of a pain to find, but I found them. So I'm going to go ahead and put the ones that fit the closest to them. They're about 1 millimeter of thickness. I don't think it'll be a big deal. These bolts right here require 7.5 foot-pounds of torque as well. So after I do that, I'm going to put this hose back on it. Actually, there's a water connection right here. See it right there. Right there. That water connection. Again, this is a water to oil heat exchanger. It just actually cycles the coolant to keep the oil cool. So working my way around. I'm almost out of time today. I don't usually have a whole lot of time in the evenings doing this work. This is the bolt I was looking for. This bolt holds this cable guide in place. Just started. Basically finish it with a 1/4" socket. You can actually use a 3/8 in this one if you want to, but in reality, my father, it's my little twisty. I'm able to move a little faster. I don't have to go back and forth. I think a 7.5 pound doesn't take much. This one's all you gotta do is just keep this tray from bouncing around. That's it, and from getting in the way. So, done with that. Heat exchanger next. I'll go ahead and lift it. As you can see, there are 4 different O-rings and 2 different sizes. So, you gotta keep that in mind when you replace the O-rings. Bring it over here. I already cleaned it up once. It's more cosmetic. In reality, once you tighten it up, it should be all great. You can see there's maybe a little movement here. Not sure why. Some signs of rubber all over the place. So I'm going to go ahead and pick those O-rings out of place with my tiny screwdrivers. Be careful not to score the actual bore of the heat exchangers. I had already removed them, so they are loose. So that's 2, and the 2 small ones, 3 right here. Come on. Actually, I did not remove this one. Stuck a little bit, but no big deal. Put any pressure on them, and feel it from the inside, and that's it. They're off. So now I'm going to find the replacement. I'll clean these little guides really well. They're fairly good condition. They seem fairly clean. It's just a matter of getting that old oil, that groove. And honestly, like I said, I picked this up at the Napa local store. They have metric sizes and SAE O-rings, and it's a matter of finding the ones that match the closest, which I found many that were either within the right diameter or and the real thickness. So here are the ones that I'm talking about. Here are the ones that I'm removing in 2 and 2. So obviously these ones look pretty much the same. They are, I think they are 28 by 3, if I remember as a measure. 28 by 3, replacing the same 28 by 3s, except those are not flattened. So I'm just going to go ahead and put those in place. Simply just drop them in there. Same with the next one. The second ones, I think they're 33 by 4s. I think I found 33 by 1s. I'm sorry, 33 by 3s. But I went over to the actual SAE side and found some that pretty much exact fit. Of course, those are flattened, they're squashed. Ones I'm bringing are brand new. So I'm just going to go ahead and take these 2, drop them in place of those other old ones. And remember, the value is $33 per pound. So if I feel with my finger, I do feel that the height will give me sealing surface. So I'll have to squash them, so I'll get a better seal. So overall, that's all it takes. It's in place. The landing area is free of junk, since this is a pretty machined surface. You want to make sure that you have no rocks, debris, or dirt in between. So back in business again. Oil. This is what it's called, the oil and water heat exchanger. Because one side, the big side, I believe this side, runs water, and the other smaller side runs oil. So that is where it goes. I can feel it sitting on top of the O-ring, so I'm looking at it from the side. I see that it is slightly lifted. Gives me the warm fuzzy that it is resting actually on It's actually resting on the O-rings themselves, not resting anywhere else, like metal. So 4 bolts. You see the 4 bolts where they go? Should be back in business. For that, you're gonna need a torch because it's actually a male. What you need. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about the camera, but again, it's just a little tricky. But you know how to do this, okay? Recommend the crisscross torquing, so you can actually load one side up only, and you're done with the oil exchanger, oil to water heat exchanger. Connect the hose back up, use the clamp, back in business. So Chomboricua here again. Actually, although I told you guys that I put all the parts, bunch of O-rings under the oil cooler in there, and some in the power steering reservoir, some in the oil filler neck, which I can't even see right now. There you go, right in there. And those were ones that I bought from a local Napa store. I had placed an order with Auto House USA, who told me they were going to be late, so I went and got them locally. However, the Auto House ones showed up the next day. So what I have here, the whole box of the actual real ones that I need. So I'm at a decision point. Should I get back in there, tear the whole thing up, put these O-rings back on, or should I just go ahead and say, screw it, go with the ones that I bought locally, which are probably good enough? Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Since the ones I got locally are not, some of them are pretty at the exact same size. Some of them are not. They're pretty close, like 28 by 3 millimeter versus a 28 by 4 millimeter. So I found the one with the 3, but I'm not going to settle for that. I already have this here. This is an oil cooler seal, for example. And here's the invoice. So you're going to see what I'm getting, you know. I'm getting oil filler cap gasket, which is this one right here. Believe it or not, $7 in Auto House, but at the dealer, this thing is like 15 bucks. Insane. So I'm going to go ahead and replace them anyways. I'm going to go back in and redo the whole damn thing. Why? Because I have the real ones. I have the real measurements. Why go with something that is maybe okay, but could be compromised? The last thing I want to do is stick this sucker in there and actually have it leaking in spots that I actually just did. Also, I was ready to put my engine in just to see if it would fit. As I actually tried to roll it in, lifted the car about 35 inches, it would not fit because the cart and the height of the manifold is a little more. So I had to go in there and undo the actual frame members, not the frame members, but actually the part of the suspension support members, to be able to flip the car under. So you see the brackets coming out this way. I took 2 bolts out from here, and there's only 2 bolts that were not even torqued, which is okay. They're going actually in the bottom of the frame. I can redo that, no problem. And the bigger problem, however, was once I got my car lifted with more blocks. By the way, there's one of the bolts that actually I need to put up. Once I got it lifted to the right height, I said, okay, it is in my Harbor Freight cart, so I'm going to go ahead and lift the Harbor Freight carts and start practicing in placement. Well, freaking cart wouldn't go up. Brand new cart. I'd used it for like an oven replacement or something. Then I used it as a platform to get up and paint some stuff. Bottom line, the cart would not go up. Less than a month old, would not go up with the full weight of the engine and transmission. So I said, fine, let me take it back in. It's still under warranty. What I did is actually bought a new one and got 2-year warranty on it. Total cost is $250 for the cart plus $80 for a 2-year warranty. But you know what? I want to be worry-free. If it breaks on me, I want to be able to go back in. Remember, this is a test. I don't know if this 1,000-pound cart can lift both engine and transmission. So if it doesn't, If it doesn't, I have two other options. I have two cranes. Okay, so I'm going to try to actually stick one from each side through the actual service port and try to support the engine and transmission assembly together, lift it. Basically roll it in the cart, low, roll it up to here, then pull it up into position. That's one option. Another option, the last option, is to split transmission and engine again. Do the engine first, lift it with the hoist into place, or with the cart if it lifts just the engine, and then bring the transmission under, stick it in there, bolt it up. I would hate to do that because there isn't much space to bolt up the transmission. And you guys do it all the time, but if I can avoid it, I will. So that's my plan right now. Sorry about the delay. What I'm going to do is actually go ahead and go back in and redo the O-rings. So this is O-rings and general information on how to in place. Yeah, that's why it's sitting on those big chunks of wood, because lifted it up, took the card out, took it back to the store, got a new card. This is brand new, and hopefully this will do the job. But not until after I replace the O-rings. So that's my next job: replace the O-rings. I'll come back when everything is assembled. You guys have seen how to do it. In this case, again, manifold comes off. I call it manifold. It's actually part of the, I call it air distribution pipes. This one comes off. With the rubber pieces, you slide them actually in this direction. The whole thing comes out. Disconnect the air oil separator. There's actually a connector under here. There's also the rubber air line that gets connected back into the manifold. Take those out, remove this piece, then come back to this piece, which by the way, there are two vacuum lines under this one that go to the electric actuating valves. As I mentioned, one on this side. This is a 987.1, and the one is on that side. See it right there, that's where the vacuum lines go. After you pick that up, then you'll have access to the oil pipe base, which again will have a new O-ring, and also will have access to the oil heat exchanger. And this is actually coolant to this hose right here, which actually connects it to the reservoir. So if you see the engine, it goes forward like this. That pipe will be pointing back, basically back on the right side, and there's actually a port right under this location, and that's where it goes. So I'll let you know that's what I'm going to be working on. Hopefully I'll get it done in a little bit. Done this before, so I'll check with you guys later. Subscribe. Chomboricua. I'm not a mechanic, but learning and reading a lot. Hopefully you guys will learn some of that. At least maybe learn how not to do stuff, because I've made a dumb mistake. The oil pipe is bolted back on, so I'm going to go back and again the torque. The knock sensor is already in. I'm going to go to the other side, and I'm going to go ahead and tighten the alternator back and bolt it up back in place. So actually, that's one of the things that I was working on to be able to gain access to it. Hopefully, it's the last time that I have to screw around with this area. I also have to bolt this little, I guess this is like a guide protector back on. So, bolting up the alternator is next. Then the bolts are right here. One has a pulley which goes through this hole. The second small one through this boss, which goes behind the engine. So I'm going to go ahead and work it in. That's why I have to lift this to be able to work it out of place. So alternator back in, bolt it back up, plate in place, and I should be rocking and rolling. After that, I'm going to go inside and finish up my vacuum lines, and then I'm going to have to go ahead and complete the actual throttle body connection. So making progress. Alternator going back in, and actually, I don't know how easy it would be to show you how I work the alternator back in. I didn't disconnect it. Actually, I have to spin it around, so I'm going to go ahead and put the camera down because it's tricky. I have to figure out how to angle it. So again, this item gets behind this flange, so I have to twist it and actually get it in there. So that's what I'm going to be doing in a little bit.